My fellow nationalist and every law-abiding licensed shooter in this country, I hope that you'll listen to this video. It is a conversation I had with a certain Herald Sun reporter who contacted my barrister. Now, my barrister represented me, and I successfully appealed the Chief Commissioner of Victoria's Police decision to suspend and then cancel my licence, because I knew that I did nothing wrong, and I wasn't going to allow the state to bully me. And the Victorian Firearms Appeals Committee found that I had done no wrong. They looked at all the evidence with objectiveness rather than subjectiveness, and they based their decision purely upon evidence. So the state's political witch hunt has failed. Although I do not think for a minute that they're just going to back off, because they do not like my politics. They do not like nationalist view of the world. They do not like what they call the far right's view of politics. And they will keep trying, no doubt. But you can do that, because all the state has succeeded in doing is inspire me further to resist the state through lawful and constitutional means. I will get in the political arena at some stage, and I will contest the establishment for their absolute treachery to the most sacred tenet in our legal system, and that is the presumption of innocence. But when you are a firearms owner, it is the opposite. You have the presumption of guilt, and they've established a system where the police commissioner has discretionary powers, and that you have to prove your innocence rather than the state proving your guilt. And the one defining fact that stands out is I wasn't even charged with a crime, purely because they want to avoid my common law rights. And we as shooters, we as nationalists or patriots who have a political opinion which doesn't suit the government agenda, must be prepared to dig our heels in and fight through the legitimate means on which the Constitution provides. It takes effort, it takes discipline, and it takes very hard work, and obviously it does take money. But I hope that this video will inspire you to resist the state. But I ask that you do these things lawfully, and do not be afraid to exercise your free speech. Do not be afraid to challenge the establishment, because the rule of law applies to everyone, and under our Constitution we have common law rights which has existed for over 800 years. It's called Magna Carta. They are expressed through our Constitution, and we should exercise those rights, because the law is not there just for the ruling elite or the governing bodies who govern over our affairs. The rule of law applies to everyone, regardless of their status in society. Please watch.
Herald speaking.
Yeah, it's Chris Shortis. I spoke to your colleague James earlier.
Oh, fantastic. How you going?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yeah, look, I think, look, I actually haven't had a chat to James yet, but I think it's probably all good. I see you had a chat to him. I think because we're just doing a story on the, I think it was the 9th, you overturned that decision by Vic Police to take guns off you.
That's right. I'll just let you know, like I let James know, as a matter of respect, right, is that I'm recording this phone conversation, okay? Because obviously the media have been very unkind in the past, if I were to use those words.
Yeah, well, I remember I saw that there was an article on, I think, The Age.
Yes.
The Age did one that
Yes.
was a bit rough.
Yes. It was very subjective, and look, to put in short, and I explained this to James, the state, being Victoria Police Commissioner, I was treated grotesquely, and I suffered a gross injustice, and I had no option but to challenge the state, and I won.
Yeah. I mean, because I spoke to Ross Williamson, who I think represented you, and he said that it was actually a pretty significant victory. Just went to show that, the remarks on social media, even if the police don't necessarily like them,
Yes.
aren't necessarily, enough to see, someone's right to carry a gun taken off them.
Well, let's just put it this way, right? I've always acted within the law. I've never been guilty of a criminal conviction, and I have grievances towards government and government policy. Obviously, that's why I'm an advert critic of Islam. But I believe in the rule of law and the constitutional means on which to contest the establishment as written in our constitution, and that's why in time I will seek political office, because I do not like the direction on which the country is going in, and I lawfully demonstrated I want to fight the government in the place where our forefathers created, which is the Parliament. And I've never hid that. I've never been shy about that. And the greatest test of democracy is someone tolerating my opinion, which they don't like. Because I, as someone of a conservative nature, a nationalist nature, have to put up and tolerate with theocracies or opinions or beliefs which I find grotesque. They expect me to tolerate them, yet they won't tolerate me.
Look, I'm not quite sure what James has asked you about, but I think I imagine that he's kind of got it all covered. In your words, I suppose the only thing that'd be pretty important is from your perspective,
Yep.
Is there any reason why you having guns is a risk? Is there any reason why Muslim people or any of these groups that maybe that you've spoken out against
Yep.
would be worried that you have guns?
No. There is absolutely no reason to it, because, these same Muslims, or Islam, in its doctrine, speaks out against the non-believer in such grotesque ways, yet the government policy is to defend this religion, and I'm a critique of that religion. It's no different me critiquing my own faith or Catholicism. I've done all those things throughout my own ministry, which is a private matter, but the idea of free speech is to challenge ideas, critical thinking, and legitimate criticism. Now, legitimate criticism has a process, which is the process of Parliament. Now, I believe Islam is incompatible with Western society.
All right. So there's no way that you see yourself using the guns to defend yourself against Muslims. There's no reason.
There is no reason for me to have my firearms, except for the conditions on which I've been granted my license, and that is target shooting and hunting.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Right, and my handgun shooting involves at a club level. That is it, right?
Yeah.
And anyone who thinks, remember one thing: the video on which I referred to when it came to using my firearm as a prop was not even talking about Muslims or Islam. It was actually an audience, a Christian gun audience, because in America, guns and the Bible go hand in hand, right? And I was actually preaching a message: don't go to war with your government, which had nothing to do with my criticism against Islam.
Yeah.
And for the left-wing media such as Fairfax to amalgamate the two by hiring a freelance journalist called Luke McMahon, who is an anarchist who doesn't believe in law and order anyway, I found that grossly hypocritical and grossly mischievous.
Yeah.
And, I will critique theology. Now, people will criticise my faith, and I'm happy for them to do that because that is democracy. Those ideas are to be challenged. I'm big enough, my shoulders are big enough to, cop criticism regarding my faith, right? I don't expect some tribunal to say to that person, he criticised my faith, you must punish him. That's garbage. In a free, liberal, democratic society, that's garbage. And these same hypocrites tout this liberal democracy, yet they don't abide by it. If we're so diverse like they claim, why is it that I spent 9 months fighting to get my guns back?
Yeah.
Right?
Good point.
You know what I mean?
All right, look, good. And do you want us to, is there an email address or something that you want us to send you the article when you...
Sure, I can give you that. Yeah.
All right, well, you got my phone number. If you just want to text me your email address, I'll make sure that you get to see a copy when it goes up.
Look, I saw the email which you emailed my barrister. Could I send an email to you? That way you'll get a return reply.
Yeah, no dramas.
All right, Gio. Look, I do appreciate you text message me, and I hope that makes my position absolutely clear, that I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have legitimate grievances towards government. I think the Chief Commissioner acted grossly and abused his power, and the rule of law prevailed. And that's what it should be, the rule of law. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I believe in the law. I have grievances towards my government, but I will seek legitimate constitutional means to contest the establishment, which is the right of every citizen under the Commonwealth, providing they actually meet the conditions of Section 44 of the Australian Constitution.
Yeah.
So,
look, I think I'm getting a bit noisy, but I'll speak to you soon, okay?
No worries, mate. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
See ya.